Hi, I'm Prakash Chandra Devangan, lecturer at IFP School, and I welcome you all in this discussion with my colleague Dr. Antonio Sciarretta. The discussion would be on subject of eco-driving, and it will be part of our MOOC on sustainable mobility. So let's start with Antonio's introduction. Antonio, could you?
Hi, I am Antonio Sciarretta. I'm expert at IFP Energie Nouvelle and titular of the TAC Foundation Chair on Hybrid Vehicles and Energy Management at IFP School.
Thanks, Antonio, for being brief. So let's start. What actually does it mean by eco-driving, and how does it help the drivers?
Well, energy-efficient driving, or eco-driving, is becoming a more and more widespread practice to improve energy economy of automobiles and other road vehicles. Basic techniques can, of course, be easily adopted by trained drivers, for example, minimizing unnecessary acceleration and braking. However, to fully exploit the energy economy potential of a vehicle, advanced eco-driving techniques are needed. To help drivers implementing such techniques, driver assistance systems are being developed by OEMs and suppliers. The largest potential is achieved with in-trip systems, which either provide an online feedback based on current performance or give a predictive feed-forward advice based on upcoming events.
Okay, so that would mean that eco-driving really helps the driver to minimize the consumption. So what is the state of art of these technologies today?
Well, most current systems are based on simple rules of thumb or qualitative guidelines. But today researchers are developing new concepts that implement eco-driving as an energy optimal control.
Okay.
So the idea is to calculate the speed profiles that maximize the energy economy under certain constraints based on a model of the car and its powertrain. And then these optimal speed profiles are provided to the driver that should try to follow them.
Okay, so you mentioned optimal speed profiles. Could you elaborate how actually we calculate that?
Consider a car on a route.
Okay.
The system records car position and speed through GPS,
yeah.
for example. Whenever there is a particular event called breakpoint, the system performs its calculations. So a breakpoint can be a car stop, for example, at an intersection or at a traffic light. Or it can be a strong deceleration, probably dictated or imposed by traffic.
Yeah.
And the portion of a route between two breakpoints is called the trip segment. Now, at each breakpoint, the system measures time duration of the last trip segment, the distance covered by the car, as well as the actual car speed profile.
Okay.
Then the system runs an algorithm that finds the speed profile that minimizes the energy consumption of the car under the same constraints of time, distance, initial and final speed as in the recorded trip segment.
Okay.
This algorithm is based on a mathematical theory called optimal control theory. In order to be run online, the optimal control algorithm must be sufficiently fast, and those specific techniques are developed by researchers.
Okay, so thank you, Antonio. I mean, it was very informative. I also know that you have been part of the development at IFP Energie Nouvelle for a specific mobile application which is dedicated to eco-driving. Could you tell our viewers what it is about?
Yes. So this concept of optimal velocity profiles, optimal eco-driving, is the core of this mobile application called JECO.
Is it? Yeah. So it's called JECO.
Developed at IFP Energie Nouvelle. So JECO, first of all, allows the user to define the main parameters of his car in order to particularize the optimal control algorithm. The parameters that have the most influence on the calculations are the vehicle weight, the type of powertrain, and the size of its components. Soon after the completion of a trip segment, the user receives an eco-driving indicator, so a score between 1 and 10, that compares the actual energy economy with the optimum calculated by the algorithm.
Okay.
So So the driver learns from subsequent scores obtained and tries to adjust his drive style to get closer to optimum. And experimental tests performed with untrained drivers of electric cars have shown an amelioration of the overall energy economy of several percent points. And the ultimate potential of such system can be only assessed by simulation, but ranges up to 30% and more of gains in energy economy.
So in fact, it's very interesting. It's amazing to know that just by adjusting our driving profile or driving behavior in a more optimal way, we can gain as much as 30%. So thank you very much, Antonio. I think it was very interesting for the viewers too. And thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you.